And maybe, well, listen. Just listen to all that. Maybe I'm being picky being an MOT tester, but when you've got a car with crap steering, sounding like this, honestly. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and to this video, and a very special video. As you can see, I am not in sunny Crewe currently. There's definitely no palm trees in Crewe. We are in fact in Majorca. I'm about to come away for a few days with a friend of mine on a little bit of a trip. Now, why is this relevant? Well, we have car content because we've actually hired a car. I needed to get a car to get around the island of Majorca, and I'm just going to pick my hired car up. And what a faff it's been trying to get a car. Couldn't get one from the airport. We couldn't get one locally, really. We were struggling. Everyone we tried, it was fully booked. And we did manage to stumble on one place. And to be honest with you, it was the bottom of my list because this place is, well, the reputation's not the best. I had a quick look at the Google reviews, and although there are some positive reviews, there's also some really nasty reviews in regards to the condition and state of the vehicles, which is worrying me a bit. But I have no choice. I needed a car, we need to get from A to B, so I had to go and bite the bullet, sign up, get the name on the dotted line, and get myself a hire car. So I've now got the car. I didn't know what I was getting as well. It just literally was given to me. So I got given the keys, we're outside, and I was presented with this. Ta-da! We're presented with a Hyundai i10. Which is quite ironic really, because the last car I worked on at the garage when we came here was the blue Hyundai i10 that we've put a subframe on. So yeah, I was expecting something a little bit better, if I'm honest with you. I was expecting, so I had visions in my head of a nice little rag top or something like that. But then again, for €45, what I actually only got to expect. Now, it's actually an automatic. I didn't actually ask for an auto, though I'm glad I got an auto because it's actually the first time I've ever driven here on the opposite side of the road. Now, I've driven abroad before, but it's always been on sort of right-hand drive cars in the correct side of the road. So my first time driving on the opposite side, and to be honest with you, it's a bit challenging, and I have gone on the wrong side of the road a couple of times. But anyway, I'll look at the state of this car. To be honest with you, it's not good. And I could see where some of the reviews come from. So what are we presented with? Now, I don't know what year it is. I'm not big on Spanish plates, but it looks like a sort of 2015-16 Hyundai i10. You can tell by the facelift model. So this is slightly a facelift to the one we've got on sale back at in the garage at the car pitch. Obviously it's an automatic. It'll probably be a 1.2. They did a 1.2 automatic. It's not very quick, if I'm honest with you, but we'll go for a drive of it in a minute. And we've already found a few little faults of it. I've noticed straight away that the door, although you probably can't see it in this shade here because we're on a bit of shade, is the wrong colour. It's had a door on it, so it's had a wallop already once in its life. A few little marks on it you would expect from a hire car. A few war dents there. Obviously I've marked these up because I ain't paying for these. There we go, 1.2. So they've got the later Hyundai engine in. We did 1.1s and 1.2s. The 1.2 engine, it's okay, but it does suffer with timing chain problems. You have to put chains on them a lot. They do seem to stretch. But yeah, anyway, back of the car, I said, a few war wounds. But I mean, for an hire car for €40, you can't really complain. Although the bumper is hanging off on the corner, and I've made sure I've marked this out. It's had a bit of a wallop in the old corner there. The bumper is completely hanging off. Not good. And also this wing is not even level with the actual bonnet. It's a massive gap there. We've got no crease line here. We've got orange peely paint there. So it's had a bit of paint this time, let's be honest. Inside, I've opened the driver's side. Oh no, it isn't the driver's side because its steering wheel's on the wrong side of the car there for some reason. I've left it running because it's about 28 degrees here, and it's absolutely roasting. There's no wind or anything as well, so I am absolutely baking. But nonetheless, the car is relatively clean. It's a conventional Hyundai i10 automatic. Nothing really too fancy about it. It's a pretty just standard spec stuff. Got lecky windows and a bit of aircon. Now, I quite like the Hyundai i10. It's quite a practical car, although from a selling point of view, they do sell, but they're not as popular as some other small cars, generally because they're usually bought by sort of older people, or sort of, I saw most of these I've sold in the past. I've either been to like older people or middle-aged women predominantly. The odd older man I've saw one too, but usually, I mean, people under sort of the age of 40 really aren't going to buy an i10. There'd be an odd exception, don't get me wrong, and you know, it's a decent choice of car, but they are bought generally by older persons. So then I always like to have one because they're good cars, but I wouldn't be buying loads of them to sell just because they're a bit of a slow burn. Nice to have one, but you don't really want too many in stock. I've had a quick look at the tyres. Tyres are actually all right, in fairness. I'm not too worried about them. That would be my first concern, thinking from the reviews that it's going to have bald tyres. In fairness, the tyres are actually all right. And the main problem seems to be with this car is actually the way it drives. Now, my MOT brain on here, this car would never pass an MOT in the UK in a million years, as I'll show you in a minute. I have driven it, literally I've come to a port, a little harbour, with a friend of mine. We're just going to have a quick walk around, look at some boats and stuff like that. We found some interesting cars while we're around. We're just basically just taking it all in. So now we're going to head back to the resort of Palma Nova where we're staying. But yeah, I mean, even in the short drive we've had here already, this thing has got huge problems with suspension. There's arms falling off, there's ball joint problems, there's definitely track with end problems, there may be a broken spring. It's got a very dodgy steering. Let me just show you what I mean. Okay, I'll turn the aircon off for a minute so you can hear me. Right, so aircon's off. Hyundai i10s are one of the main things that they suffer with. Well, there's a couple of things. Rear calipers, really common for rear calipers. Alternators, packing up, seizing up, they are very common as well. Starter motors as well. I've done a few starter motors on these where they just stop completely, just packed up, come to them one day, start the car, nothing happens. They're the usual things. I mean, they're probably a bit more common than, say, other cars. So they probably are more sort of proper faults, we'd say. You know, they're not general wear and tear stuff. I've changed alternators and starter motors on these at like 40,000 miles. So they are pretty common for going wrong. But the major one that goes wrong on these is the steering racks. They are notorious for steering rack problems. And basically, if you can listen to this now, this has got horrendous. You can hear that? Yeah, that's the actual steering rack itself. It's got play in the rack shaft. Probably when you jack this up, you'll probably find play in the inner arm joints, but it's actually also mainly in the rack. It's really common. They're a couple of £100 to buy. You can buy them reconditioned off the online. I've got the same job to do on our i10 as well. We've got a problem with that, so we're going to have to sort that out. That's a common thing. But when you're driving this, that's vibrating through the car. It's really stiff going right, but they're quite light going left. So there's clearly a fault with the steering. And like I said, there's all sorts of things going on with this. Let's pop the bonnet. God, that's hot. There it is, guys. Little 1.2. The little 1.2 Hyundai i10 engine. You get this in the i20s as well. It's not a bad little engine when it runs right, in fairness to it. I mean, it's replaced the older units they used to use, single overhead camshaft engines, which are a bit woeful. From what I've driven of this one so far, I mean, maybe an automatic box paired to it, it's obviously a little bit sluggish. But I've driven the i20s and with this engine in, and they're actually all right, to be fair. Fortunately, they do suffer with those sort of issues with the timing chain, which is basically the chain stretches, basically causes all sorts of problems with the performance of it. You get like bogging down, or it'll throw up camshaft faults. Just very common, I'm afraid. So it really is not a nice car to drive, to be honest with you, but we're going to muster through, use it nonetheless. For maybe a day we haven't got much choice, beggars can't be choosers and all that. But I'll rig it up now. We'll go for a very quick drive in it, tell you what it's driving like, because I've never really driven an automatic i10 before, and I've actually only just literally come around the corner from the hire centre, so we've not had a proper drive in it. So we'll go for a quick run in it now, see what it's like, and give my honest opinion on this hire car.
Today's video is sponsored by Vehicle Score. Vehicle Score is a vehicle checking service which is completely free to use. Simply go to vehiclescore.co.uk and type in a registration number. By doing that, you will get a score, a bit like a credit score from 1 to 999. Using Vehicle Score's algorithm, it can break down the MOT history, the mileage, and using that information will give you an independent score to that vehicle. You can compare that score to the average car in their database to give you extra information to make an informed decision when buying a car. The free check also gives you lots of free information about that particular vehicle. It'll also give you information on the MOT history, the mileage history. It'll give you information of the vehicle itself and all its spec. It'll give you a free valuation, and it'll also give you an estimated lifespan of the vehicle. And if you want more, guys, they offer it because they also have two comprehensive reports. They have the salvage report and the ultimate report. Now, the salvage report will check to see if your car has ever been scrapped, whether it's ever been stolen, whether it's ever been used as a taxi, whether it's been imported or exported. But also, crucially, it will do a salvage check to make sure the car has never been involved in a salvage auction. What I mean by that, guys, you get a lot of cars that get damaged, don't go through the insurance company and become what's called unrecorded write-offs, or category U we call them in the trade. Basically, they go into salvage auctions, no registered mark against them against an insurance company, damaged, they get bought, repaired, and they can be put back on the road. So it's always crucial to make sure you have a salvage check done. But if you want more, you can get the ultimate report. The ultimate report covers everything in the salvage report, plus it will also make sure the car's never had any mileage clocking issues, VIN number problems, plate changes, Experian finance check. That is an absolute crucial one, guys. It's making sure the car is free of finance. It checks to make sure there's no outstanding hire purchase or logbook loans or anything like that. But it also covers a standard insurance write-off check to make sure the car, in case it has been categorised, you can find out. So make sure it's not a Cat N or a Cat S. Both reports offer fantastic value. Car UK viewers get a 15% discount by using the promo code CARUK15. Type in CARUK15 to get your 15% off either of those two checks. Remember, guys, the basic check is completely free. Get yourself over to vehiclescore.co.uk, type your registration number in now and get started. Right, so I've now brought the car back to the hotel, which is only a 2-minute drive away. We have been out in this car already, and I have to say, it's probably the worst hire car I've ever rented, and it should definitely not be on the road. Now, I will just go quickly up the road and drive back, but I ain't going far in it because it's not safe for you to do so. We're going to have to take this back, I think, to the hire car company later. I mean, we use it to what we need it for, but honestly, guys, I mean, this is ridiculous why you would rent this car in this state to someone. But let me quickly show you without trying to kill myself. I mean, why can't they drive on the right side of the road? I mean, it just doesn't all marry up the way the roads work. It's just, I don't know, we just do things better, I think. Okay, so pulled out, we're off. Okay, as I'm driving down the street now, basically what I can feel is the track is out to the left hand side, that's the end of there, but there's such woolliness in the steering in a straight line. I'm literally doing that, nothing's happening. I'm still in a straight line, there's no actual movement at all in the steering. You've really got to move it left and right, really got to shunt it. When you move it right, the steering wheel's really heavy. When you move it left, it's quite light. So there's just so much play in the steering rack. I mean, it's bad. I mean, it wouldn't pass an MOT. You're allowed about, I can't remember the exact measurements, I'm guessing now, but I'd have to check the manual. It's about 15 mil. I'll put it down here actually what it is in a rack and pinion or steering rack system play wise. This is way in excess of that. I mean, think of like old LDVs and transit vans with steering boxes in where you used to have like loads of play in them, and you're allowed a bit more in them. This is what it's like. It feels horrible. Even going over like now the smallest little potholes and stuff, you can hear sort of vibrations in the steering. You can hear all the ball joints going as well. It's just a horrible thing to drive. Even like over little tiny bumps, I can hear something coming from the right side, like a tractor end or something. Probably will explain as well why we've got loads of play in the steering if we've got some tractor ends gone. Oh, bloody hell, I tell you what, they know how to try and kill themselves over here, don't they? Just open the doors onto you. Engine and gearbox wise, well, there's a little bit of a timing chain rattle, I can hear that. It's might just be low on oil, you never know. I don't really check it, to be honest, it's not really my responsibility. But there is a little bit of a timing chain rattle, particularly when you sort of putting your foot down under load. You can feel like a little bit of pinking of the chain. The box, and actually in fairness, the gearbox, the auto box is actually alright. Old-fashioned style CVT box. Not very much to go wrong with this type of setup. If you are going to buy an auto, especially modern autos, oh god, that noise. The modern auto CVT boxes are out of the way. They're a bit outdated and, you know, the most advanced of gearboxes, but they're reliable. You know, if you compare it to some like Ford PowerShift boxes and DSG boxes, although they drive very well, they're not very reliable, let's be honest. So a good old little CVT box is great. However, obviously, when you pin it to an engine like this, it is a little bit slow, should we say. I mean, even now, if I just go over this speed bump and I say, oh my word, that noise. Here we go. The whole thing's like, gadoosh, bottoming out. And I just can't get over this steering. Look, I'm doing nothing. I am not moving. The car is staying in a straight line. There's loads of play in that steering. Oh, no noises. I think there's a spring on the back, you know, as well. There's a horrible bottoming out effect on the back, and it just goes boom. Anyway, going back, the auto box is okay, although it is like torture trying to get it to move. But if I put my foot down now with kick down, yeah, it's all right. But I mean, we went on a hill yesterday in it, and it was struggling. Let's put it that way. It was struggling. Obviously, it's a very small engine, and an auto box like this is really going to pin it down, I suppose. Anyway, let me turn back round because I think I'm going a bit too far out now. I don't know where I am. Oh God, that is bad. How can well, listen. Just listen to all that. I mean, maybe I'm being picky being an MOT tester, but when you've got a car with crap steering, sounding like this, honestly, you've really got to ask yourself a question. This car should never been on hire. I mean, why would you give this to anyone? And the standards they're applying is awful. I mean, look, I can imagine running a business, you're sending cars out all the time. There might be the odd thing that gets missed. You know, you're not test driving everything every day, so car might come back and develop a noise. But this hasn't got like 1 or 2 noises. I mean, you can hear them now. This has got like countless problems. I mean, countless. I've not checked around up in the air, so I can't scrutinise too much, but I know from my MOT brain, I know noises, I know what I'm dealing with. We've got tractor ends, ball joints, spring problems going on here, and that steering rack, I mean, come on. It's bad. No, but anyway, I think I've had enough of this, to be honest with you. I'm going to park this up. I think we've done with it, to be honest with you. We've used it for what we need it for. I can't wait to hand it back. I should be telling them about what I've experienced and how bad it is, and it shouldn't be rented out. I suspect that it'll be ignored and it'll be out on rent again probably this afternoon. This is by far the shittest hire car I've ever driven. I mean, in fairness, by looking at the reviews online, I mean, take away all the good reviews, you look at the bad reviews and stuff, really, you can maybe get an idea of what a place is like. Reviews there about the brakes not working and noisy brakes down to the metal and knocks and bangs on the suspension and cars not starting. It wasn't really a surprise, really, was it, to be fair? But I have to say, I've not part of that very well, have I? Never mind. Anyway, yeah, the old Hyundai i10. See, was, I mean, in fairness to it, if it didn't sound like a bag of spanners when you drove it, as a little i-car, it's ideal. But I wonder if I'm going to get charged for this bumper here, which was like that when he picked it up, honestly. But yeah, maybe we get scammed when we take it back. Anyway, we're done with that car. That can go back in a minute and get nailed back into the hire car company. Anyway, thank you for watching this one, guys. Just a little something different. Just thought I'd film something car related while I was away. Normal service will resume soon, including some auction content that's coming out this week, all being well. So let me know your thoughts and comments, guys, on the Hyundai i10. Also, don't forget to check out Vehicle Score, our channel sponsor. Click on the link in the description, type your reg in to get your free check. And if you want any other checks, you can get a discount on the Ultimate or the Salvage check as well, using the code CARUK15. So check them out, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.